Aloha my kako. This is Oracle of the Golden Spiral. We are here today at the full moon in Aquarius. This is the second full moon in Aqua this year, which is a chance for us to go back over what we've been redefining. What is the energy you felt at the last Aquarius full moon, and where are we solidifying that now? As it's the last day of Leo, where I'm in Hawaii, we are going to be going from Leo through Cancer. Additionally, since I generally prefer to read at the time of the energy instead of setting an intention prior to the energy, because as we all know, energies can change throughout time, especially when we're doing general readings and there are multiple people involved. If you'd like these energies at their first availability, hitting the subscribe and notification bell will be important. Okay, so here we go. Leo through Cancer. Leo through Cancer. We're going to start with Leo. What is the energy for Leo during this full moon in Aquarius? What do we have for Leo, please? Leo, full moon in Aquarius. Okay. We have number 20, the Dark Lady, and number 64, Gotcha. Give me just a moment. Okay, sorry about that, Leo. Okay, so number 20, the Dark Lady, and number 64, Gotcha, for Leo. So this is really, you're really putting to bed something, or that's what you'll be working through, is really putting something to bed that has to do with dreams or hopes unrealized. The beautiful part of this is that it has the foretelling of potential. So whatever lessons are gained during this time when we are having this breakdown, or whatever breakdown has just come about, right? It's about breaking down to break through. So the lessons that we gain during this time, we'll be able to utilize at this next new moon to go ahead, and we'll have better intentions and a better understanding of what it is that we want to build. I know it may feel a little dark at this time, but it is really talking about that hidden potential, and for us to find what that is, really embracing and really grasping this whatever. There's an indicator of like foundations being adjusted or completely breaking down to see something in a whole new light. And that, facing that, I know it's been difficult lately to go ahead and I think we've been dancing around facing it, but going ahead and facing it really is the key to solving what it is that we are going to be building in the future. It's such an important, difficult assessment and period to go through, for the simple fact that what we gain from that and what inevitably is, did you hear that? Beautiful. Playtime and laughter from the kids. Like, what is gained from that is we're able to use as the building blocks going forward. And if we don't face what that is, we're not going to be able to garner that realization, and therefore the next step of our journey really is going to be less than it could be if we took that moment to, like I said, break down for the breakthrough. What we build in the future will only be more solidified because of those hard lessons gained during this time. So I definitely give you hugs. I'm a Leo myself, so this doesn't, is not my preferred message for today, but it definitely is. I am very hopeful for your progression and crossing my fingers for mine. Okay, so thank you, Leo. Moving on to Virgo. Virgo, what do we have for Virgo during this full moon in Aquarius? What is the energy for Virgo, please? Virgo, full moon in Aquarius. That one wants to come out already for you. Okay. We have Mike the Myomancer, number 42, and Luafus the Wild, number 57. Okay, there's a dichotomy going on within your energy, Virgo, and it's really the pendulum swing between the joy and patience, and also impulsivity and spontaneity. It feels like you're digging deep into the patterns, and perhaps it's really taking a look at, when you respond one way or another, what the results are. Is there a commonality? Is there a theme that you want to engage with as a, in total for your life? Or is it something that maybe is a little bit more, as a Virgo, I think assigning the correct amount of spontaneity and the correct amount of patience and, being able to ponder with that deep philosophy is key. And so whatever your focal points are at this time, right now is a time to, I guess, decipher what fits where. Where have you found success in each of these? If your focus is, I don't know, let's make it general. So if your focus is education, in one key component of learning, what is the balance? What is the balance when it comes to researching? Are those two things different? And really setting out to reflect to find the parameters. So if it's in a business, dealing with this one person or with this one type of project, how do we, what is that optimum balance? And how do we notate that and perform at that level when we recognize that those things are coming in? These are all intricacies that Virgo is really actually amazing at. And so it feels like at this time, it's like the culmination of, I don't know, maybe 9 months of energy and what's been going on in the astrology. And maybe during that time, right, we've been reassessing and redefining and kind of getting better at what we're doing. And I think maybe this is the culmination of that experience for you. But it really has a lot to do with, you know, what is that ultimate balance for each unique situation when it comes to the spontaneity and impulsivity, that just do it spirit that comes into us and drives us, versus you know, being able to have a little bit more time to think through what the possibilities are and to decipher what philosophy you want to engage in, and to how to explain that, to be effective at the highest level, like, yeah, when effectuating, however you want to say it. And that's what I have for you, Virgo, and I wish you all the best as you iron that out during this Aquarius full moon. Okay. Moving on to Libra. What do we have for Libra during this full moon in Aquarius, please? What is the energy for Libra? Libra, full moon in Aquarius. Okay, Libra, you have She of the Cruak, number 5, and Titan the Self, number 45. So She of the Cruak is really the yin energy. It's about being perceptive, nurturing, fertility, things of that. Everything you think of when you think of the Empress is kind of She of the Cruak. But it's that blossoming abundance. Oh, I guess that's kind of like the Empress as well. But it's really about the receptivity, right? So it's not just that it's the energy of not just that abundance, but how we draw that abundance in, as we engage with the surroundings, right? Titan, the Self, is really, I mean, this really speaks to awakening to discernment. So what are we drawing in? How do we, it seems like more of a building concept, when really we're dealing with full moon energies, but I think that what it is having that discernment to know what we're drawing in that's not, that doesn't feed this energy, the receptivity, you know, abundance, whatever doesn't seek to nurture ourselves, the environment, that which we decide we want to build, right? It's kind of like, there's like a very, I don't know if you know much about Chinese martial arts, but it's kind of like wushu. Wushu is taking what's the energy that's coming at you, and it's very dance-like. I mean, I think most of it is about using that dance and that structures, which I think goes back to mathematics anyway. Using that mathematics and physics, right? Like, to create this, like this beautiful physical geometry that's expressed. But in any case, when we're talking about wushu, it's not an impactful martial art. It's not like, my grandfather's brother was a kendo champion in Japan, and it's not like that has sticks and we're moving towards, right? Like kendo is very beautiful too. But I think wushu really embraces the idea that you utilize the energy that's coming at you, and really any impact that you're having on the other person is really just you redirecting their own energy upon themselves. This is so deep, Libra. Oh my God. So really right now we're talking about a full moon energy, and this amazing, right, like discernment to what we're drawing in that very like receptive yin way. I think right now you're going to be deciphering what it is that is unuseful in that energy. It's really about being discerning on how we attract that, right? We're not gonna like beckon someone to bring their energy towards us and use wushu when we're not stable, when we don't have a firm plant. When we do, we beckon the energy and we utilize that energy. But when we're not, I think this is the discernment of being able to determine when we're manifesting and what we're manifesting to better to put to bed the things that don't work for us. Like if we're hopping on one leg, that's not the time to call that person over to engage, right? Or that energy over to engage, if we're really talking about energy. So I think I've got a little bit turned around, and I think in my explanation, but like I mean, that's, I think, what you're going to be going through in this next couple weeks. Take note of the things that, as you're working with this energy, because you're naturally going to be doing this, take note of the things that don't work out so great or aren't as beneficial, and seek to find the root and release those things, so that when we move into this next new moon, you are at a heightened point of being able to draw in at that right moment of precipice to draw in that which you are able to utilize in that very beautiful empress sort of way to provide nurturing, fertility, and growth to yourself, as well as those things around you that you want to engage in. Excuse me. I've been suffering with a head cold out here, so apologies. Weather's changing and it's getting intense. So yeah, Libra, that is what I have for you. I wish you all the best during this full moon in Aquarius. All right. Next up, we have Scorpio. What do we have for Scorpio during this full moon in Aquarius? What is the energy for Scorpio, please? Scorpio, full moon in Aquarius. Okay, we have Fef the Footer, number 58, and Honesty, number 40. You're gonna need some grounding for the information that is coming in. Fef always has one foot on the ground, reminding us that when we are grounded in our space, we're more able to deal with energy that does flow through us and to us. I think you're pulling a little bit of what we talked about in Leo a little bit earlier, so I wouldn't be surprised if both those energies are present in your chart, Scorpio. I think it's giving you a sense, I think Scorpio energy is a little bit more fluid, right? So it's asking you to add a little bit of grounding, whatever that means for you. Being in some place that you are comfortable. I don't know, in a lot of meditations, people imagine roots growing into the ground. You can have a ginormous brick of crazy tourmaline that makes me stay in my kitchen instead of moving throughout the house. I don't know, whatever that means to you, it's different for everyone, right? But you're really going to be in this full moon really taking a look at the ways in which you've engaged in your own self-deceit. Really embracing yourself for who you are. And instead of going to those negative and self-defeating thoughts, learning to speak to yourself with tact, right? I think Scorpios in general are incredibly honest, and some of the things that they're able to say to people without people completely losing their mind. I mean, the more higher, more balanced, more grounded Scorpios, the type of things they're able to say to people regardless of what really they're saying to them, calling attention to their crap, that type of thing, does have a tact, because you're delivering something that just growing up with that energy and existing in this world with that energy, you understand how that can go terribly wrong in situations, and then how you've been successful in it in the past. And so I do think that you already have that understanding. It's time to do that for yourself. It's time to take a look at how we've been self-deceptive, but also not taking it, discovering how we don't take it to that level where we're like self-deprecating in the language that we use with ourselves, right? Really understanding, like, the understanding and compassion that we have with all of the ideas you wrestle with as a Scorpio, all of the compassion and tact that you try to put into when you're giving truth to someone that you care about. All of that really needs to be reflected on ourselves. And so it's really about clearing out self-deceit, but also the self-deprecating, not utilizing that type of language when showing yourself this truth. It's a tough one, Scorpio, not gonna lie. But you do have energies show yourself the same compassion that exists in these eyes. When you start going down that road, just remind yourself that we want the world to show up for us with compassion. We need to do that for ourselves as well. I think that's what I have for you, Scorpio. I really do wish you all the best as you grapple with this during the full moon in Aquarius. And I think that your new moon, you're just going to be feeling freer, lighter, and able once you release that energy. And when you've spoken to yourself kindly, you'll realize where it is that you need to go during this next new moon that's coming up. So best wishes with that, Scorpio. All right, moving on to Sagittarius. What do we have for Sagittarius during this full moon in Aquarius? What is the energy for Sagittarius, please? Sagittarius, full moon in Aquarius. Oh, apologies. Sagittarius. You have the fairy that was kissed by the pixies, number 21, and the bodacious bodak, number 59. Okay. Right now, I think you're, whether this is you towards another person or you or someone else towards you, what you're recognizing in your experience, oh, excuse me, what you're recognizing in your experience at the moment is the things that people or yourself, I mean, take it how it resonates, do that maybe have the best intentions but don't actually end up being to the benefit of the situation. And it's really about bringing love and understanding and compassion to those situations. So whether this is, you know, external energy doing this to you, or you trying to be helpful but it doesn't turn out as you have anticipated, or whether you know, just in general, things seem to be a little bit chaotic due to that type of energy. It's really about bringing compassion and love into the situation. If it's you speaking to yourself kindly and understanding that you really did try to help, but recognizing and speaking to yourself compassionately about the fact that maybe it didn't provide the help you intended. And being okay with that, I think, right? Compassion and forgiveness is really like being okay with that and just knowing that within your heart. Obviously, you know, learning and adjusting for the future, that is a way that we address that and become stronger and know how to move forward. It's also, if others are doing this to you, it's about recognizing it, having compassion about it, and maybe having, you know, loving, therapeutic conversations to adjust that dynamic that you're working in. I feel like Sagittarius is very straightforward. I think you may have a moment where you, I mean, especially if this is what you've been doing and you need to have that honest but positive understanding and communication with yourself. I think that this is a very simple message that's going to require you some time to work through it. So this full moon is probably the time to do that. And as we move into the next new moon, this is something that, I mean, perhaps you've been dealing with this in one complexity, you know, one level of complexity or another ever since December of last year. And so, you know, I think now is the time when you're really going to be able to put all of that into perspective. And as you move into the new full moon, a lot less of this dynamic will be working through in your experience, or you will be aware of it to go ahead and to change that dynamic and your engagement with that dynamic going forward. Okay, Sagittarius, I think that's what I have for you for this full moon in Aquarius. I am wishing you all the best. Next, we are going to be moving to Capricorn. What do we have for Capricorn during this full moon in Aquarius? What is the energy for Capricorn, please? Capricorn full moon in Aquarius. Okay. Capricorn, you have number 1, unity, and death, number 53. Right now, it feels that you have a lot of change coming. This may have been presenting itself and coming for a very long time. And as we love to grasp our stability and to be comfortable in the spaces that we know and that are tried and true, right now, perhaps at any more than at any other time in this past 6 months to 10 months, you are understanding that for change to occur, good change that you actually are looking forward to. I think you've got, during this time, you've been trying to get good with that change, right? And that how it can be more productive, more beneficial, and more provides with more growth if we're able to embrace those changes. And I think now at this time, during this Aquarius full moon more than ever, that we are welcoming that change and able to, and are more comfortable than previously at letting go. I think you're starting to really see, or during this next 2 weeks, you'll be during the full moon in Aquarius leading into the new moon, that you're going to be understanding that if we don't release things, i.e. change, if we don't loosen our grip on those things that are comfortable, yet maybe not as beneficial, then there is no ability to, we're going backwards with that, right? Like, then there is no ability for, I always say that unity is really the universe's vast energies looking for a place to happen. But if they have no place to land, then they can't really come about for you. And so I think the key focus is going to be on what is it that I want to bring in, and regardless of whether that requires change or letting go of others, I understand, and I'm working through this realization that if there is no tarmac for this to land on, then we will inevitably be in that comfort zone where we're not creating or being able to manifest or being able to draw in those things which really would be to our benefit. I don't want to get into the whole fallopian tube analogy there, but you see where I'm going with that. I mean, you're intelligent and able to understand, basic worldly laws of the universe. But it's about that birth. Where does it grow if we don't have space, right? How are we constricting it with all the things that we don't want to release? And I think that is what you're going to be working through the next 2 weeks, Capricorn. Or really, you've been working on that and it's really kind of settling in your spirit at this time. So I wish you all the best. Thank you, Capricorn, for sharing your energy. It really is a beautiful energy, to be quite honest. I think it's something that everyone... what's really weird is I don't really have Capricorn or Cancer in my chart just because of the way everything lines up. And so there's duplications of things because I'm a 0 line. So, but, you know, I thank you for sharing that energy, because even for me, someone who doesn't have that Capricorn Cancer access in their chart, like, and really no planets in it, that really speaks to all of us as a basic universal principle of, you know, that true access of scarcity and lack. And I'm not talking about the Capricorn Cancer axis in this, but just that, you know, access of scarcity and lack, and, you know, being able to manifest. So thank you for that, Capricorn. Thank you for sharing. Now we are going to be moving on to Aquarius. Aquarius, please. What do we have for them during this full moon in Aquarius? What is the energy for Aquarius during their second full moon this year? Okay. Aquarius, you have Indy, number 63, and the Oakman, number 47. Okay. Indy reminds us that help is all around us. He also lets us know, as you can see with this like cute little face and these little balls, it sounded weird, you know, that decision time is coming. I think that you have known within yourself what this decision has been, and as time's been growing, one has been given a lot more weight in this complexity. There's this adorable, you know, representation of how it's like, well, is it this one or this one? Okay, well, so this one, let's like, you know, is it this one or this one? Well, so it seems to be this one, but if we do this, is it the same? You know, and it's really, it shows that you've really put some thought and some, you know, you've really balanced and measured everything in this situation. And the Oakman tells us that you've used wisdom. What is wisdom, right? Knowledge is one thing. Air signs. All air signs should watch a little bit of Aquarius today. Air signs are adept at knowledge. But what is wisdom? Wisdom is applying that knowledge in the surroundings around us. What good is it? What good is having all that knowledge if we're not going to take that next step into wisdom and apply it, right? Have it affect in whatever way the surroundings that we're in, right? That's the reason we gain knowledge. It's not just to keep it, but to utilize that in our surrounding environment for hopefully the better. Oakman is that heart of the matter, that wisdom, that deep-rooted understanding of practical miracles, of really what I'm getting from this combination is that understanding that no matter which way we hold these things, we know what that decision is going to be, and trusting and understanding that as we make that decision, all of the things that are around it, that root intricacies, that spider web that this one decision affects, understanding that interconnectedness and how that becomes a greater wisdom or dynamic or intelligence for all that are affected in whatever this matter is for you. Which is such an Aquarius thing. Oh my God. Okay, so this energy, you guys, in this Aquarius full moon is really strong. So I think that you have all the information that you need. It's really about just getting good with God or universe or whatever. Allah, you know, whatever God, whatever representation of spirit, the universe, is for you, right? That spark of life. You already know the answers. It's about, I think, coming to that understanding that when we acknowledge that, when we express that in the real world, that's when the true wisdom comes, and that's how we can affect that spider web moving out. That the ripples, I know you always want good ripples, but those ripples really bring not just knowledge, but that greater wisdom to all that are affected. I feel like I'm repeating myself. I apologize. I'm trying to explain this concept, which isn't, you know, which I didn't know I was going to engage with at this moment. But it's very powerful for you folks, Aquarius. This, I think, is not as great a challenge for you as you may see it to be or anticipate it to be. So I wish you all the best, and thank you for sharing your energy with us during this full moon in Aquarius. All right, moving on to Pisces. What do we have for Pisces, please? What do we have for Pisces during this full moon in Aquarius? Pisces, full moon in Aquarius, please. Okay. Pisces and Libra today. Pisces, you have Key of the Fiery Sword, number 4, and the Glen Corner, number 62. Right. So this is a lot of yang energy. This is also energy that is somewhat, I mean, this energy, it's really about, and it's more, it seems like you're dealing with toxic masculinity at this moment, Pisces. Whether that is external or dealing with it within yourself. I watched this really amazing video today. It was in a different context. It was someone who I have contracted, and I was taking a look at, you know, some of the more social justice issues that they are dealing with. And it was very interesting to see that amount of, how do I put it, honesty, because it's about, you know, innate biases and things like that. But that amount of honesty in such a touchy situation, a subject. But then I also, you know, could see the other side of it, which is, you know, that when we're dealing with, you know, it's talking about innate biases and preconceived things that we have in us, which may make us respond to people differently. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, yes, but in, like, I mean, I don't think any female in this world doesn't understand walking through a parking lot at night and putting your keys in between your fingers and, like, looking at every shadow. And, you know, men just don't walk through parking lots that way. I mean, maybe if they have been jumped before in a parking lot, or maybe if they're, you know, on a heightened, no judgment here, but like on some type of heightened drug, right? Which is less of a depressant and more of a, in any case. But, you know, those innate biases that I have in that general sense are like my survival and protection mechanisms. So it really is about discovering like what those different things are. I don't know why this is coming up with this reading, but there could be some, I really think it's about grappling with maybe our innate biases about toxic masculinity, or like if that exists within ourselves, or maybe we're, how are we propagating that, or how are we, it's really strange for a intuitive sign like Pisces to be getting something quite so, I mean, it's not just toxic masculinity, right? Like here the fiery sword is also, God, I hope you haven't clicked off yet, because I'm like not even halfway into this thought, but it's also about justice and protection, right? Like the other side of that is justice and protection and engaging in the world. But it's a little tough because with Glenn Conner, it's like, you know, there are those like projection, lust, delusion, things of these nature, these concepts that come up. But it really is like the underlying understanding and basis of this is that we are casting the glamour upon ourselves and our understanding, and we're covering over the things that the only person we're really fooling is ourselves, right? In this, with this energy. So maybe it's really about I don't think it's just about yang. And it's weird that I mentioned Libra at the beginning, because I think it's about really discerning the yin aspects and the yang aspects, and understanding that we all have that within us. And sometimes when our yin is injured, the yang speaks up, right? In uncomfortable ways, in dominant ways. And sometimes when our yang is injured, our yin speaks up, but really in kind of like hidey-holing or like rabbit-holing, or in other less nurturing, or, you know, when the yin is distorted, we get like the opposite really of nurturing and fertility, yet being in hidey holes. So I think it's really about understanding that we might be out of balance in some way or another. Maybe not, you know, to the masculinity side, maybe also to the femininity side. Maybe it's about, or maybe we've been grappling for a while with really keep getting that, because you guys are so perceptive, because you guys really are, you know, the intuitives, those that can mitigate emotions, that, you know, really feel the fabric of this spider web to the greatest degree, that perceptiveness, that maybe it's, you know, you've been working on getting those two sides to balance so that you're able to be more discerning and more honest with yourself about what it is that's coming in. Maybe it's about looking at our filters and seeing, probably nobody's resonating with this, but it's about seeing maybe our imbalances and how those are our filter, as we are picking up that which we perceive. What adjustments can be made? What do we need to release? What do we release to bring that back into balance? And how do we prepare ourselves to move forward at this next new moon for growth and development and all the things that we want to create? Right? This is creation as well. So how do we prepare? How do we have those honest conversations and determine what's unnecessary to be able to create moving forward? It might be just as simple as that. You're looking for what you're creating next and trying to determine what do we need to release to get there. It's very similar to Capricorn in a totally not similar way. Okay, Pisces, that is what I have for you. I wish you all the best during this Aquarius new moon. There may be some rough patches, but just know that you are well equipped to deal with it. And I will tell anyone that if there is any unsafe situations as that came up, please seek help. Please protect yourself. Please seek help. All right, let's do Aries. We're on Aries now. Just gonna shuffle that one more time there. Okay, Aries. What do we have for Aries for this Leo new moon? What is the energy for Aries, please? Aries. What did I say? Did I say Leo full moon? Let's start this again. I don't know what I said. What do we have for Aries during this full moon in Aquarius? Aries. What is the energy for Aries, please? Aries. For this full moon in Aquarius. Why am I not surprised? All right. Okay. Heat of the Fiery Sword, number 4, and Lace the Moon's Daughter, number 38. This is about symbolic dreams, riddles, right? Aries, at this time, you could really be reevaluating. It seems like something's come in lately and you're not sure where it came from, but all of a sudden we're like a little off balance and not understanding this yang nature to what either has been presented to you or that has been fired up within you. Maybe in places where you thought you understood it before, you are finding that there is a new enigmatic property to it, like a riddle, like a where you should know how to explain this. Where like you feel like you should know or be able to discern, but it's presenting a bigger challenge than you expected it to be. Because in it, again, lies that dichotomy with yang energy about justice. And yet, when yang energy is off balance, challenges in that respect. All perhaps you're trying to draw or define lines, maybe in a relationship, or maybe just with, if you're a male, other males, if you're a female, other, you know, males, if you're a female dealing with the yang side of, or more dominant females, if you're a male dealing with, maybe it's the first time you've ever dealt with like quite such a, or this more yang side of this female. I'm not sure. I think there's just concepts that we've been working through perhaps for the past few months, or, you know, it could be as long as since summer. It could be as, I really don't feel like that though. I really feel like maybe just coming in, there was an incredible amount of energy. We're in Aries, right? Incredible amount of energy in your last reading. I'm not sure if that was Leo full moon or the previous Aquarius one, but it was like you had the roar, and it was like this bomb waiting to go off, and me pleading with people to utilize it in, you know, to utilize it in a constructive way, right? To build versus destruct. So there is something that you're grappling with, and I don't know how this is connected, quite honestly, but it is connected in some way, shape, or form, because that reading is coming up. With all the combinations, I don't always remember, but for some reason I'm remembering that one. Let's see. Maybe look to your dreams. Maybe, I really feel like this does represent, though, it just kind of coming out of somewhere. Nowhere, somewhere. I don't know. And it being different than, it presenting in some kind of way that is enigmatic, where once you thought you understood, all of a sudden there's a new baseline, or new information that we need to integrate into it, or redefining maybe what is yang and what is yin. Redefining how we approach that in other people, right? Because we're really more, Aries is more, or you're fire. So, I mean, depending on what else you have in your chart. I don't know why we always have to say that. I mean, there's a million things in people's charts. But if you're here because you're talking about sun sign, then you know what I'm talking about, and there should be no argument about that. So, but yeah, really, I'm not sure that this is beneficial, but let's see. I just want some clarity as to where we're going with this. Yeah, it's different. Yeah, there's an enigma. Yeah, we have to figure out what that is. Maybe it's different for each of you. Maybe we're grappling with this, who knows why. But I am going to get one more, and we have Guardian at the Gate, which is 3, and this talks about, okay, so it has something to do with facilitating of the muse, right? Every time we go through 1 through 3, it's because of their interconnectedness that I have to talk about this. I always say number 1 is vast energies looking for a place to happen, right? That's unity. Number 2 is, what is the card called? But anyways, it's talking about the muse, about hearing the song. We get a glimpse of the universal song, and that is the muse. And it has a lot to do with, not being able, it's just that little tiny piece of it, because we're not able to understand or grasp the entire thing. It would overload our sensory. So we just get that little piece, and it's like a spark, that light to move forward, right? Ace of Wands, if you guys know tarot. And then this, number 3, which is the facilitation of that glimpse that we got of that universal song, right? So facilitating that muse property, to make sure that that song, it's like the safe passage of that song into people's hearts for change. It's so beautiful. It was a little rough earlier, but it has something to do with that, Aries. Oh, that's why I can never remember what number 2 is, because it's ecstasis. It's the muse. But yeah, it has something to do with maybe being able to solve the riddle of yin and yang, so that we're able to best meet that challenge, whatever challenge it is, because the ultimate goal of whatever the challenge is to facilitate the passage of a universal song into hearts of those that, of yourself and the others who are engaged. First, we put on our own face mask, then we assist those next to us, right? For traveling on planes, this is what we know. First, we assist and allow that passage of that song into our heart, and then we put the airbag on the next person. So that really seems to be what maybe this next 2 weeks is about, discernment on how to be able to do that moving into the full moon, and to release preconceived notions to solve the riddle. Okay, Aries, that is what I have for you for this Aquarius full moon. It's like every time Lace the Moon's daughter comes out, I get confused, and I don't know if we're in a full moon or a new moon. I think if you go look back at the last video, like there was this whole, it was like Scorpio or Sagittarius, I just did this whole cleansing thing, and like it was intense. And when I watched the video back later, it was like I was saying the wrong, I thought I was in the new moon for some reason. So there was some kind of pull. Anyway, so moving on to Taurus. Moving on to Taurus. What do we have for Taurus? This full moon in Aquarius, please. What is the energy for Taurus? Taurus, full moon in Aquarius. Okay, Aquarius, you are having the Singer of Initiation, 9, and Death, number 53. Okay. First, I want to talk about, well, the Singer of Initiation is like, anytime we talk about initiation, there is this test, the trial, right? The trial for the triumph. And how do we meet that? And how do we greet that challenge? It seems like right now with these energies that I want to say that there is just like this picture, like this very inspired, despite the fact that it's journey and trial. I feel like in this past month to 10 months, 8, 9 months that we've been working through since December, and there have been a lot of really beautiful spots, kind of in the sea of, how do I put this? Trial and test, like we're like, really again? Really this? And like I said, it's like the night sky, right? It's pricked with these like glimmers of starlight. But I think we're really at a point, Taurus, where we're ready to let go. This probably is the most direct full moon in Aquarius. Like if we're doing intention setting and we're talking about that, I think what you'll be working through, whether you set it as intention or not, is really like coming finally to that. I think you might be there already, where you're welcoming that irrevocable change and you're just like, you know, yeah, I can handle it. Whatever I've been able to handle all this, it's been repetitive or ongoing or, you know, throughout. Yeah, I do feel like it's been a longer experience. If it hasn't, it's been a very intense, short experience with multiple things popping up in such a short amount of time. But I really do think more that it's been this, you know, wave, this slow building mound, and this wave that's kind of just like a tsunami that's coming in and has just been coming in and coming in and coming in since maybe December. I don't know where I'm getting this, so if it doesn't resonate, I might not. You might not be resonating with that. I have not watched your rising or moon sign, but it feels like you're ready for this change to come about, and it feels like that you actually are going to be getting quite a release. Where it's been kind of this like gloom and doom, I feel like there is somewhat of a inspiration that comes with this release, like somewhat. It's like we've been digging our heels in, but I think what we're going to realize is that there's like a really kind of like an ecstasy factor to being like you're welcoming this change and this sublimation. So yep, I think that's what we have for you, Taurus, and I wish you all the best during this full moon in Aquarius. And I really think that you're gonna have a lot to look forward to as far as building when we start getting to the new moon. Best wishes, Taurus. Okay, what do we have for Gemini? What do we have for Gemini during this full moon in Aquarius? What is the energy for our Geminis, please? Gemini, full moon in Aquarius. Oh, the roar. The singer of initiation. Oh, okay. So you have the singer of initiation, number 9, and the roar, number 52. Excuse me, just give me a second. Okay. Right. We talked about this a little bit earlier. For those of you who weren't here for the... Who was it? Is it Aries? Singer of initiation. Maybe it was just... We just had it. Maybe it was Taurus. Okay. But singer of initiation is about test and trial, but it's the triumph from the trial, right? And this right here, the roar, I talked about a little bit earlier in Aries reading because of their last reading, either in the new moon in Leo or the previous Aquarius full moon. But it is like a power center. It's Tigger. It's like that excitement of the Page of Wands times 1,000. It's like a energetic atom bomb building. And what do we use that energy for, right? It's useful, it's powerful. But what are we using it for? When it's been storing up and building and soaring through the sky, and gaining and gaining. It's like the opposite of like a meteorite that burns stuff off. Maybe if this was fast enough, it'll burn stuff off, but it seems to just be growing and growing and growing and growing, right? Because it's all of this that we're keeping inside and creating. It's like a spring. It's funny, Gemini always gets this spring analogy. If you go back to like 2 months ago when I first started doing this online, it's that spring, that like leaping, that compelling jump that's about to happen. And with you, despite the fact that we're really talking about testing and trial, I really feel like this has been this leveling up. This feels actually like a glow up. This feels like you stepping out of your comfort zone. I feel like Gemini's comfort zone's everywhere, but it may have a lot to do with that. Maybe it's that battery, like you have a well, I've never seen it like this before, but it's like, it's coming to me, how they're giving it to me is like this battery, right? Like you have these two sides of you, and it's almost like the twins are, like they've been in conversation, maybe for the past month since this last Aquarius moon, maybe moving back all the way to when was it, like February or March that we had those eclipses, or maybe even back into December. But it's like the twins have been in conversation, and that interplay amongst the two of them has built this ball, and we're almost about to shake hands in negotiation or understand those two. And my mom always says, don't say two twins, that's four. But like, we're those twins, where your counterparts have been having this conversation. Maybe we're just about to shake hands in negotiation, and that instead of them having that interplay, having them both on the same side with all of this pent up energy and understanding and creativity and creation and I don't know, ooze of life that's like been balled up in there, is gonna really project and propel you into past these trials, all the way into something that really helps you level up, whether that's on a spiritual level, on a work, job, relationship, whatever this means to you. We're talking about the energy that's there, the energy that's created there, and what does that propulsion, well, it is the propulsion, right? Maybe that unity in that side is the propulsion that creates whatever that is. And I think that you are going to be wrestling with this what feels like instability, but really has this beautiful potential behind it, to really propel you. Did you have a Master Maker last time? I'm gonna go back and look, because it really feels like the culmination of Master Maker and being able to understand that, like, where you're going to, like, Master Maker is like put every oomph you got into it, because what you need is beyond your skills that you've engaged with so far. And I feel like this is like the successful energy that would be needed for that Master Maker to propel you into that next whatever it is. Like such a letdown, but it's different for each of you, right? It's like, is it I don't know, are you finally getting ready to like have a relationship or get married to someone, or like, are you finally at that point where like you're good with it and you're just gonna go for like a career that you've always wanted, that you never thought you could do? Or you're gonna buy a house? I don't know what this is. This is different for everybody, but it really talks about elevating so much higher than where you are energetically at this moment. I'm bringing it in with such power and precision and beauty. All right, Gemini, I think that's what I have for you. Thank you so much. This is beautiful energy for you to be sharing during this full moon in Aquarius, and I wish you all the best. And I can't wait to see what develops for you at the. I'm actually gonna note this one down because it's quite tremendous. But at the next new moon when we're building again. Okay. All right, last but not least, we are going to be doing Cancer. What do we have for Cancer during this full moon in Aquarius? What is the energy for Cancer, please? Cancer, full moon in Aquarius. All right, it's getting windy. Got a little sneak peek there. Really? Oh, right. So I guess it's bleeding into the next ones. Are you kidding me? Okay. I don't know if I can actually say all that again. Let's see if something else different comes out. Let me recap. So you have the Singer of Initiation, right? Which is like this. Oh boy. Test, Trial, and Triumph. And also the Roar, number 52, which is my energetic atom bomb. So what I said in Gemini's reading, Gemini and Cancer are having the same reading. How is this possible? You guys saw me shuffle, right? Oh, wow. Okay, so we're ending the reading with this beautiful energy. So this really is about soaring, but instead of being like a comet and it like stuff burning off of it as it goes, it's really like this internal building up that is continuing to happen. Cancer, maybe in your respect, I said to Gemini that maybe it is their internal twins. You may have Gemini in your chart, but the internal twins having this conversation back and forth, building this energy of this, like, it's like a battery, like building this energy, whatever this conversation your twins have been having. And once they step onto one side and we're both making that same decision, the propulsion of this soaring far beyond whatever this trial and triumph was to, like, wait, did they have a Singer of Initiation too? Oh my God, I'm getting so dizzy and turned upside down here. God, this is the same thing. This is like beautiful blossoming. Anyway, it propelling and moving to like, this is a glow up. This is like a energetic leveling up on ginormous proportions. Maybe for you, Cancer, you've been holding on to it all yourself. It's just been building up in you. I mean, no doubt, if we've been holding on to it, we have been having that conversation. It doesn't need to be your internal twins, but this conversation that, should I say something? Should I not? Should I act? Should I not? Should I do something? And it feels like it's just getting pent up. But I think that once there is, it's like I'm feeling a little bit of different energy, but not really. But it feels like once you decide that this is for you, I feel like it's a little bit more of a conversation, an authentic conversation that happens that really lays bare what you've been internally keeping with. For you, it doesn't feel that much different. But if I try to put, like, you know, the air sign aspect of it versus the emotional aspect of it for you as a water sign, like, it's a very incredibly similar. It just may have, like, the building of this may have been in a different way, but the result is very similar. So I'm really getting a glimpse at how dynamics right now, like in this moment, how air dynamics and water dynamics really can, I'm seeing them in a way I've never really seen before to create and generate those same kind of energies, yet with totally different bases. And maybe that's what bubbly is, right? I don't know. No, I just feel like I'm talking bubbles at this point. But if you want a little bit more information, go back and take a look at the Gemini reading. I'm getting the same, a very, like, it is 99% the same feeling that I'm getting. I feel like I'm learning stuff in me, trying to look at it from a Gemini air sign point of view and a water point of view. I'm understanding a little bit more interplay between air signs and water signs, but I'm not really getting any of a different feeling. A lot of you may have Cancer and Gemini in your chart. I know a lot of people like that. I know a Gemini Venus, Cancer Sun, a Cancer Sun, oh, they're both Cancer Sun, Gemini Venus, and then a Cancer Moon, no, Cancer Venus, Gemini Sun. Oh, how weird. Anyway, enough about me and the people I know, but go ahead and take a look. Just kind of rewind it back to Gemini if you haven't watched it, because I feel like I'm missing some of the finer details, or too late now, but maybe if the Gemini wants a little less rambling, this would have been the better version for a Gemini. That's not how we did it today. We went Leo to Cancer for this full moon in Aquarius. This is the second full moon in Aqua this year, which is a chance for us to go back over what we have been redefining. And so now, I hope this resonated with you, and that if you were kind of, this energy has been very brain foggy and very strange, and I'm hoping we're going to move into a little bit more clarity as we move through it. But if you were here just to kind of get a little bit of guidance, so that you are able to maybe, and if you're resonating, see what was going on, and what you can be doing as far as solidifying that now, then thanks for joining me, and I will see you. I think I'm going to pop into, I'm so behind because of the outbreak here in Hawaii and trying to figure out what I'm doing with my children, because they won't close the schools or offer us distance learning. So I apologize. I have not been here, been doing a lot. I also work like 7 days a week, 8 if there were. There might be 2 Sundays in my week, so 8 days a week. So, but I am gonna try to get back to my more regular, not that anyone watches them, but my regular zodiac signs. And then I promise I will it's been 2 months since I did a Who's Coming Towards You, so I'll put a new one of that out sometime this week, okay? So thank you so much. Again, this is Oracle of the Golden Spiral. Mahalo Pilanaole for spending this time with me. To you and yours, a happy full moon in Aquarius. Mahalo.